I know I haven't done this in a very long time. I know it's just been nothing but 8-foot content on my channel and VR chat content. Hi everyone, this is going to be a different video using this animation template thing, which barely works. I'm going to drop this as soon as I... Hold on a second. This is what I'm talking about. Here we go. Here's the moment of silence where I pick the next vowel that I'm going to start with. This system is kind of broken. I am in the process of basically transitioning my VR chat experience to full body VR. Yes, I'm going to do it because I've had a lot of growth with my 8-foot beast character. And I mean growth as in maybe gaining, like, you know, I think between my multiple Instagram accounts, because I have an account for 8-foot beast now, that I have, it is possible that I have grown on Instagram by gaining, like, I may have gained 100 followers, and that's partly because I've been also posting a lot of stuff about the inspiration behind 8-foot, the inspirations I should say, but the character mainly being based on Peter Steele and the physical form and even maybe some of the other attributes as well. I've been posting about Typo Negative a lot because it's connected to 8-foot beast, and my Instagram followers have jumped quite a bit. It's jumped quite a bit, so I've experienced some growth. I mean, nothing too crazy. I may have gained like 100 followers. That's probably all. But I definitely gained a little more engagement than what I had before. Because I had like basically like no engagement before. And an average of maybe 3 to 10 likes max on each post before I even started really like going in this direction and just trying to make everything about 8-foot, so it seems like I found a great niche with that. I've got to drop this system because this system is broken. Anyhow, that's not the main reason why I'm making this video. The main reason why I'm making this video is because I have an announcement, sort of an announcement. It's, I don't really know. I guess it's a statement to make. I have a statement to make. That's more so the correct. Yeah, it's a statement. I'll cut to the chase. So, just one moment while I switch poses here. With my music, I realized that I've been going about it all wrong. So I realized that I'm actually more of an experimental avant garde type artist, and with the next album that I've been working on, I have been working on it. I have a bunch of demos. The music's already composed, but it's a bunch of demos with me singing like this. La, 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 la. It's like, it's kind of like that kind of singing. And I'm not literally singing la 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 la, but it's like the typical lyrical story you see, and then it's like my cringy, awkward singing that just is very challenging to listen to. So and with the and with the set of circumstances that I've been presented over the years and the obstacles that I have faced as an artist, and the main thing is I'm plagued with production issues. I realized that basically likely where it's like where I fit is I am, you know, avant-garde, experimental. That's where I fit. That is where I fit. The whole intent of this is to hit the letters of the vowel I'm about to begin with the next sentence, but I realize this system's kind of broken. Oh my god. I realized this because I had been listening to a lot of experimental music and avant-garde artists lately, and I've been mainly looking into it just because I wanted to laugh, and I've been posting it on my Instagram feed, mainly under the guise of my character 8-Foot Beast, as a joke. But I realized that I could actually rebrand myself as a whole, as an artist in this way. And okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and exit out this for now. I'm just gonna talk about I found this really interesting video and kind of like discussing avant-garde, and I might only play like the first 30, but because I want people to know what this is.
Finally moved in.
It's a great old house. Good bones.
Dumb advertisement,
porch.
please
Pipes are
stop.
making strange noises.
Cringe noises, yeah, exactly.
At least Geico makes bundling
This
our
is
home
what
and car
we're
insurance
talking
easy.
about, cringe
For
noises.
bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Alright, how's it going?
Hey, LA.
I got a question for you. What is your definition of music?
This is a good introduction to what is avant-garde, basically. But yeah, the Shags. So about the Shags, so I realize I've always been in this avant-garde experimental genre from the get-go, and I didn't even realize it, and I kept marketing myself as just a straight rock artist, and I realized it's just wrong. Because the first album that I came out with, I don't know, I don't really want to play this sample because I don't want like a copyright strike here. I want to try to avoid getting a copyright strike, but if you have the patience, check it out. It is challenging to listen to. That is the definition of avant-garde, is stuff that is challenging to listen to, and a lot of my stuff is actually challenged listening to. This is like actually another avant-garde project that I'm doing with my boyfriend, Super Rabies. Check this shit out. This is stuff that I'm doing with my boyfriend. Oh, it gets better the further you get into it. There's some screaming. Yeah, like screaming, and I'm like playing the guitar. Playing like I'm trying to play like a fast, like thrash metal, like kind of beat. Doing like a fast, like thrash kind of beat. Kind of fast paced, like thrash beat. But yeah, I that's like this is like, this again fits the definition of avant-garde experimental. Pretty much everything I've ever done fits the experimental avant-garde categories. Like literally like every single thing I've ever released. And okay, so about the Shags, I know I mentioned that. I'm scrolling down way to the bottom here because it's way down here. Oh yeah, this album. I will say this album, it sucks. It's pretty terrible. I don't even think I have a link of it here on my website. That is so bad. But but I realize that like this album here, the Shags bad. Basically. But yeah, so anyhow, I don't know if I have any link of it here. This album is just such a cringe fest. This early album, but like basically that's kind of like what I am, is a cringe fest, because being an avant-garde artist, you are essentially a cringe fest. And this album got such bad reception on Yahoo Answers. I was trying to get constructive criticism, and it was this album that got me compared to the Shags. Somebody compared me to the Shags, and it was this album that got me compared to the Shags. And this was actually my debut. This was actually like well, not quite my official debut, but it was my album debut. Let's just say this was my album debut. My real debut was this song called First Rockstar, which, I mean, again, because I was young, I didn't know what I was doing. That is extremely avant-garde. Let me see if I could pull this up. I don't even know if this is going to come up. I usually never come up in the YouTube search. I try to search for myself and my content never comes up. I think I'm going to have to pull up the playlist because I do have some kind of music playlist here somewhere. I save so much, like, albums, like, album playlists. I just save them so much. I'm telling you. Oh my god. I'm gonna have a hell of a time trying to find this. I'm gonna have a hell of a time trying to look through my channel and find this alone. I might be able to find it this way. Let's see anything. What's up? Oh, of course it doesn't. Yeah, because I'm not monetized. I don't know if I have a link to it on my website, the music playlist, the general playlist. Okay, I do have a general playlist somewhere out there on YouTube. Oh, here it is. Okay, found it. It was on my website. Yes. Yes, okay, found it. This was my first thing I ever released. This was my official debut. Listen to this.
I want to be the rock star. My favorite bands are Motley Crue and Kiss.
This came out in 2013.
Because he is so cool. He is the greatest.
This is my debut.
Motley Crue.
Anyhow, yes, that's definitely avant-garde experimental because it's challenging to the ears, and it's also a cringe fest. And it's also really funny. It's really funny because it's just one of those things that are so bad that it just makes you laugh. And that's like most of my music. Oh yeah, this is, okay, here, right here. This is the album that got me compared to the Shags. This. This got me compared to the Shags. There was some.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh man, I was still going to School of Rock at this time.
Show the world what
This is not an example of what I sound now. I sound much better than this. I've had some growth, but I'm not quite up to commercial standards. I don't believe I ever will be.
I'm making it pretty obvious who I am. Fool.
F you. It's just, yeah. Again, this is another cringe fest. But this was the album that got me compared to like the Shags. This was my album debut. But some stuff that is Also, another good example of my stuff being avant-garde is this album. This album. Right here. This is all experimental. This stuff is really experimental. It's like really... This one right here is probably one of the most... Like... This one is like one of the most... Like, I don't know, this track stands out to me. It's challenging on the ears. And I didn't brand any of this stuff as being like, my branding was just to be a conventional rock musician, and I didn't brand any of this stuff, none of this stuff. I had never branded it as avant-garde, but that's what it is. It's all avant-garde. It's all experimental. That's where I fit. I just, for the longest time, I never know where the fuck I fit. As a music genre, I never really knew where I fit, but this, I just realized that I'm an experimental avant-garde artist. That's just what I am. This is from 2015. I was 18 at the time. A lot of just experimentation on the guitar, the amp trying to learn. But this is like, these are all like just GIFs that I found on the internet, or more like GIFs or GIFs. GIFs or GIFs. I just would try to make these music videos. And then there's this one. I mean, I'm not going to go into explaining my music too much. This is another one. Very experimental piece. Just like, you know, there's a lot of like jam tracks here. This was when I was older and I improved a little bit. But even like, I've been consistently labeled as avant-garde experimental by people on the internet. Anytime I try to present material to people to get constructive criticism, I always get slapped with like avant-garde or experimental, and I realize that's just what I am. That's just who I am. That's just what I am. I realize that, and I should embrace it. That's what I realize. And being avant-garde, being experimental, you can really be anything that you want. And there, you know, that's when you're like commercial, you put yourself in a box anyways, and there's like limitations. But yeah, this is okay. Let me see where I left off. Oh yeah, this She's Gonna Love You music video. I remember I made this right when those Snapchat filters came out. This is like right when the Snapchat filters came out. This one actually sounds a little bit more commercial. I was trying to be a little bit more commercial, but you know, to be honest with you guys, I've always tried to have commercial in mind when making this music, but it always just comes out avant-garde or experimental. Which this music video is kind of avant-garde or experimental, it is. I mean, but this is when the Snapchat filters just came out, and I was just having lots of fun. And I was just having so much fun when the video Snapchat filters, that's right. This is when they just came out. This was 2016. I think I was 19 at this time. I was really young. You know, I still am young, but yeah. I was just having a lot of fun there. And there was this one. I'm getting into my music a little bit too much. Oh, shit. Yeah, I used to go by a different name, so that's what that's about. I never started going by Rocket until like, I think 2018, 2017 I started going by Rocket, and I used to go by a different name.
They call you a kid. They call you a...
It's just, yeah, it's just best to just rebrand myself. Oh yeah, this. I'm getting into this probably a little too much. this isn't. I just slapped the demo label on this because it was recorded directly from the amp and no mixing whatsoever, really. Other than just like, oh yeah, like whatever. Yeah, alright, I'm gonna just let that go right now. But anyhow, yeah, they're gonna really in the gamut of this. Oh man, buffering. Anyhow, other artists that are related to this, oh yeah, they have a little segment on David Bowie here, which is like really interesting. But yeah, what's cool about this genre is you can actually, there's some artists from this genre that are successful. It's a little bit harder to get successful because you're making music that's challenging to the ears, but they talk about Frank Zappa too. Frank Zappa is related to this as well. And obviously, one of the most, also, I mean, along with the Shags, you have this, Captain Beefheart Trout Mask replica. You have that as well as, I just realized that since, like, I'm somebody who wants to make, like, I'm somebody who actually wants to make commercial music and who wants to have some kind of production standards, who wants to have high production quality, who wants to have quality vocals, but just can't get it together, you know, and it's because of various circumstances in my life just have kind of like, I should probably pull this up again. Oh yeah, you know, I was looking up Fabio because I was reacting to some of his videos. Man, he's a cringy guy. He is cringy. Oh my gosh, cringe city. Okay. Damn. Hold on. Let me get my thoughts together. Because of circumstances in my life, I don't have the means to make any of my music really a professional production for the most part. However, there is one exception to this, and that would be this song that I wrote called Fuck 2020, which is like, it's not the same as, like, don't think of like the Avenue Beat version, but I wrote like my own metal version. It's intended to be like my own metal version of Fuck 2020 with original lyrics. This is not the same song as the Avenue Beat one. While I think they're called the Avenue Beat, I don't know, like, I know there's another song called Fuck 2020 that's like really famous, especially on like TikTok and stuff. But yeah, so that one may be an exception. There is an exception here if I can collaborate with somebody on Forever, at least for one song. Because that song, maybe, if I collaborate with somebody on Forever and it actually works out and I'm able to make things work out, then I may end up having only one commercially viable song, which I am fine with that because, man, let me tell you. Oh, I just found out, Steel Panther came out with the Fuck 2020 song, a metal genre one. If you can even call that metal, Steel Panther. See, they're a parody artist. I know this, but I'm starting to become such material myself. I am starting to become a parody artist myself, but not exactly the same kind of parody because. Yeah, Steel Panther is just a totally different thing, and I'm not Steel Panther at all. It's called Avenue B. Okay, that's the band that originally did it. So, oh my goodness. I'm looking at I got distracted. I'm looking at the lyrics for Steel Panther's version of their song, Fuck 2020, with their original lyrics. Now, I came out with one excuse me, it didn't come out. Excuse me. It's still in production. I have one with my own original lyrics that is metal, and this one is intended to be like in your face, but when the actual thing comes out, who knows what the fuck it's gonna be, because being an avant-garde artist, being kind of like experimental, being kind of out there myself, who knows what it's gonna be. It may just be like you may just hear a girl singing, you may hear my cringy vocal style, or maybe you'll hear some pitch down kind of guttural vocals. Who knows what you'll hear when it's done. And you know what? People on Reddit are gonna help me make this decision, because I've been utilizing them as a tool to help create my stuff. I've been using Reddit as a creative tool. I've been using the music criticism subreddit as like a creative tool to help kind of like reshape my music in a way that would be, I just want to reach my full potential. I just want to get the best out of myself that I can, and always if there's something that I can do to make it better with the resources I have, I'm willing to do it. A big difference now from when I was doing all that other stuff in the past is I actually have acquired quite a lot of gear and some instruments. I have like a tambourine. I have professional ear monitors. I know some stuff about mixing that I didn't used to know. I have mostly neural DSP plugins. I have some STL tonality plugins for guitar. I actually have a lot of gear that I didn't have before. I've been using the Big Muff pedal to kind of work on like my doom metal type stuff or sludge or any of that type stuff that's tuned down. I have the Big Muff pedal that I've been using. I've acquired quite a bit of gear. I spent quite a bit of money. I've acquired quite a bit of gear. That's a big difference from the stuff I produced. All that stuff that is currently out. My newer stuff, when it does come out, is going to sound a whole lot different, likely, because you're going to notice like a bit of a change in probably the sound quality, likely, because I hope that there's going to be a change in the sound quality, at least, or the mixing quality, because I have some professional gear. I do. So having some professional gear, I could actually push forth something that is going to be, I'm going to be mixing, hold on. I'm going to be mixing and bordering along the lines of this. I'm going to be, on the one hand, I'm going to be avant-garde experimental. On the other hand, I am going to have somewhat of a commercial sound, because I do have some professional equipment. I'm going to be bordering between the two. I'm going to be bordering between the two a lot of times, probably. And the stuff that's going to be newer that comes out, I hope, will be a lot different from the stuff in the past, because in the past I was recording from the amp with any of the demo tracks are recorded straight from the amp, or demo albums for that matter were recorded straight from the amp. As for that stuff had come out with 2015 with the GIFs music videos and stuff, all the GIFs, all that, those weren't recorded from the amp, but usually if it's recorded from the amp, it's labeled as a demo. But I have more professional gear, and I've put more money into this than what I had before in years prior. So I hope there will be a difference in regards to that. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. I can't get the vocals. The vocals is the main thing, and the drums. The vocals, the drums, and by the way, when I try to play bass, it's more like improvising because I'm mainly a guitarist. Those are the things that are going to lead to this being avant-garde, this being experimental. Those are the main things that are going to cause this to... Those are the main things that are leading to a change in me being an avant-garde artist. Just branding myself as an avant-garde artist, just branding myself as experimental. Those are the ones. Those are my biggest production hiccups. The drums, because they're coming from Easy D Drummer 2 right now, which I've noticed a huge change, but that's always been a problem. I've used drumming apps for the iPad. I've used various drum machines. The drums has always been a problem, but the number one problem I have, vocals, because like I really can't sing, and now I'm using Elnor Forte, but Elnor Forte Synth V Vocaloid doesn't work with all my songs. It especially doesn't work with In Your Face Metal. And then I tried actually doing guttural death metal vocals and pitched it down, but everybody on Reddit was like, "Oh my god, it pitched down. Guttural death metal vocals are distracting." But I realized it's like, okay, this is really cringy, but you know what? I can make this work as long as I label myself as such, like parody, avant-garde, experimental. It's gonna work in the end, no matter what I do, as long as I rebrand myself and I could actually start promoting some of this stuff. Then I could actually start promoting this stuff under the guise of like, oh, it's a joke, it's not to be taken seriously. Then it really gives me that creative freedom. And there was this one thing that like Captain Beefheart had said that I really identified with, is that the whole intent of Trout Mask Replica is unbridled creative freedom. And you know, I identify with that. It's like, yeah, how nice does it feel just to have, how great does it feel to not worry about commercial standards anymore, to just drop it, just drop the commercial standards, just drop those standards. And I mean, I'm not going to drop my standards completely, I'm not going to lower my standards completely, I'm still going to try to have a nice mix, but I want to produce something that is as good as it could possibly get with my limited resources that I have. And I may be, who knows, something could change this overnight where I can collaborate with somebody on Forever, and maybe, you know, if I could get somebody to do an entire album with me on Forever, but that's wishful thinking. I don't think that's realistic. I mean, I see some people out there like $20 per song. I mean, okay, you know, but I could just see one song happening. But anybody you work with, they might nitpick about, oh, the time signature, oh, the key, I can't do this key, I can't do this time signature, this mix is terrible, oh my god, these drums, like, just no. So anybody you work with is more than likely to probably, for me, anybody I work with is probably going to likely nitpick. You know, they're likely going to nitpick, since I have a lack of even having professional experience. I have plenty of novice experience, but I have a lack of professional experience. And by the way, I mean, and before I go down that path of collaborating with somebody on Forever for vocals, especially for, like, I mean, I mainly want to do it for the stuff that's more intended to be, like, well, anything that's just, you know, I was thinking more for the guttural vocals, because that one's kind of a sticky point for me unless I pitch down myself. But yeah, I mean, I could even go with my regular voice, but I have to market it as like, okay, this is cringe music, ha ha ha, laugh at me, basically. Laugh at me, because now I'm gonna be your clown. So yeah. But before I do that, if I were to collaborate with somebody on Forever, I really want to get it approved by Reddit first. I have to get Reddit approval. I have to get other people to approve it on Reddit or some kind of music forum like that, like Discord. I have to get prior approval from a public audience or a group of people. It could even be my Instagram followers. The more people, the better. I have to get approval before I go down that path. because even after that, I know the artist that I collaborate with on Forever is likely gonna nitpick, but it could be a really good thing if I find the right person. Some people on Forever that are doing vocals actually have some clout, so it could be a really good thing for me commercially, and that could be like, I don't know if I could say commercial debut, but that would probably be my only professionally produced thing, or who knows, but, as well, I want to discuss, I know that I have some really, I have some kind of innovative guitar stuff going on, I think, in this upcoming album, because another reason why it's good to call myself experimental is because I cross-blend all kinds of genres, because I've regurgitated and took whatever I've heard over the years, and I listen to a lot of strange music. In fact, let me show you this component on my website. I just want to take a moment to talk about this. I know this is becoming a bit of a long video, but art gallery and photo gallery, that's the wrong one. I haven't updated my website in ages. I just haven't. But anyhow, this is my music blog that I haven't updated since, like, oh my god, January 2020. Okay, pre-COVID. I haven't updated it since COVID. So all this stuff, every update I've made is pre-COVID, everything. I haven't updated it since COVID because it's a very minor thing, a very minor gig I'm doing. But anyhow, I feel that nothing better than this this graphic right here really describes all the different music I listen to. Yeah, I listen to a lot. Like these obscure bands from like the 70s and stuff and the 60s. Look at this. All these different genres. Is always like all over the place. Oh yeah, the krautrock one is the most experimental of all. This one is the most experimental. I think my blog isn't even working properly. The stuff doesn't even load. I need to fix my music blog because the stuff didn't even load. Trust me, there's content up here. I mean, like there's hundreds of albums that I've talked about and posted, but my website just isn't working properly. I need to fix this. But you can go on any of the playlists on my YouTube or up here. I talk about my sources where I get my music from. You could go to any of these blogs or any of these YouTube channels. I have some playlists. Yeah, I have some, but I think my playlist is somewhere here. Yes, right here. I have these different playlists. So, I mean, this will give you an idea of just how much I've listened to over the years. I mean, yeah, definitely not just like, I don't just listen to the radio rock or the real commercial mainstream stuff only. Definitely not. So I'm definitely into that. So I will take like something funky and put it in the same song in a song that may be metal. I'll put like a funky riff and it'll just like maybe come out of nowhere, or I'll like the same album that includes a bunch of like doom metal or sludge metal tracks. I'll have like some kind of funk track come up and it'll be kind of weird and it'll be kind of out of place. And yeah, I do weird stuff like that. It's all over the place. It really is. I mean, I blend a lot. I cross blend a lot of different genres. I have a lot of weird genres that maybe wouldn't normally be blended together, and I would blend them together anyways. I have a lot of blues influence in it too. I use like that 12-bar blues stuff a lot. it's so my album's all over the place, and being all over the place it being difficult for me to definitely categorize it. And I do play a lot of metal. I mean, I do, but I also have like classic rock influence in it as well. I probably play just as much classic rock influence songs as I play metal influence songs, and it's really hard to like if I'm just gonna describe myself in one word, like what the fuck do I? And that word experimental, just boom, catch-all word, experimental. That's the catch-all word that I need. And also avant garde. So avant garde, like I can actually like not have to sound commercially polished. And I love it. I really do, because I realize now I don't make this change. I don't rebrand myself. I don't do this. I don't just realize this and just learn to embrace it. Maybe just learn to embrace being laughed at, because I know I will be laughed at. I will never release this stuff if I don't, like, if I didn't make this realization that I just made, and I didn't make this connection that I just made with that music, this stuff would never get released. It just sit there. And just trying to fuss over sounding commercial, because every time I get constructive criticism on Reddit, they're always looking at it from a mainstream commercial perspective. Like, what's commercially sellable? Like, commercial music. It's like, okay, how can this sound produced and polished and commercial? They're always looking at it from that way. And now I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my god, that's bullshit. At least for me, it's bullshit. For me, because for me, I don't have the means. I just don't have the means. I'm not in a band. I don't have a circle of musicians that I'm affiliated with professional experience. I just don't have the resources. I'm sorry, I just don't. So being in that commercial box, this stuff would never get released. Ever. Like, I'll never be able to move forward just boxing myself in this commercial box. Now, don't get me wrong. I am going to try my hardest to make sure that I want to make sure the mix is good at a minimum, but I am going to try to really, really push it up a notch with, I'm going to do all I can with these plugins, and I'm going to try to make everything is going to sound as good as it possibly can given my current setup. The limitation is my setup. The limitation is my budget. So I'm going to try to make everything sound as good as it possibly can given the limitations of my setup and my budget. So it will hopefully sound different than the stuff I released in the past. I mean, that's my hope. But the vocals, they're probably never going to get it right unless I collaborate with somebody on forever. Now, Eleanor Forte Symphony Vocal Light Program. I believe that she may be capable of singing along to some of my songs, just not all of them, maybe not majority of them. And I just want to maybe end this video with a quick sample of what that sounds like. But yeah, just making this whole just coming to this whole realization, just making this video, it's just this placing myself in these two genres is just, it's so liberating. It's so freeing. Like, I feel like I could just be an artist and not have to fuss so much and not overthink. Oh, echo Eleanor Forte. Let's do the most viewed Eleanor Forte. Don't forget that. Yeah, let's do the most reboot your reality. Okay, that's the most well-known.
It's a great
one.
old house. Good bones.
I shouldn't get a
wraparound
copyright
porch.
strike on
Lights
this.
are making strange noises.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
Oh my god,
For
this is the
bundling
second
made
time
easy,
this
go to
advertisement has come up
geico.com.
tonight. Why is this captioned in, is this... I think this is Russian. This is what Eleanor Forte sounds like. This is one example. There are good bad examples of Eleanor Forte. But it's basically a Vocaloid like Hatsune Miku. see, there is definitely flaws with this. It's a little broken. Like it's a little broken. Like it just doesn't sound right. And this is the software I will likely be sticking to and using going forward. But who knows? If it's just all out, if I'm just like, okay, I'm a clown, everybody laugh at me, I just may use my own voice, even though it sounds like hell. But I tried using this on the most recent track, this Fuck 2020 track, and it just sounds, ooh, it just sounds like a cringe fest, which, if I market myself as a cringe fest, it's okay. If it's like, hey, I'm a clown, everybody laugh at me, it's fine. Yeah, that's a little bit, yeah, it doesn't sound right. It Eleanor Forte, it doesn't sound right. It's obvious, it's superficial. There are some stunning examples though where I can't even tell. Like, here's one, I won't play it, but the Bring Me to Life cover, oh my gosh, that one is so good. Bring Me to Life cover, Eleanor Forte. The Tonio Vocaloid's really bad. It's that male Vocaloid. It's bad. But Eleanor Forte on this cover of Bring Me to Life, this video, it was so good I couldn't even tell that it was a Vocaloid. It sounded human. So there's good and bad examples of Eleanor Forte's Symphy. But with Eleanor Forte's Symphy, most of the examples, and from my experience, because I've had some experience with it recently, and it does end up sounding very much computerized, robotic. It's like, oh, this just doesn't sound right. This sounds broken. It usually ends up like that. And I have to be Avant Garde to release music like that. If I'm going to release stuff like that, I have to be Avant Garde. I've got to be Avant Garde, because that's challenging to listen to for the ears. That's a definition of what an Avant Garde artist is. And I consistently get labeled as Avant Garde anyways in YouTube and music discussions. Rockyan is always being labeled as Avant Garde experimental anyway, so I just got to go down that path. I just got to. I mean, I'll see where the forever things goes. I mean, I'm gonna try that. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna try that. But I just realized this is a way of freeing myself from those constraints, freeing myself from those chains that hold me down, those chains of like, oh my god, I want to sound commercial, I want to sound polished, they're like chains that are holding me down. This is a way of like freeing myself. It's like, oh, I can let it go, I can have that release, and people will actually still listen, possibly, and give me a chance if I do the right kind of marketing on this, and maybe market myself as, like, rebrand myself as a clown to be laughed at, or like joking and humor, and like, oh yeah, this is like The Room, it's so bad that it's good. If I market myself like that, I believe that there's still a chance here. Because in the end, I'm just an artist who wants to create. I have lyrics. I want to tell lyrical stories. I want to tell stories through lyrics. At the end of the day, that's just what I want to do. And if I accomplish that goal, I am happy. as long as I get some kind of niche, some kind of cult following niche kind of thing going on, and whatever that is, it's okay. It's okay. But I realize, it's the right kind of marketing too. I can't just market myself as a conventional rock musician. I gotta knock that off, because I'm definitely not conventional. I'm anti-conventional, quite as a matter of fact. But anyhow, I am going to end this video. I hope you all have a good day, good evening, or whatever. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning where I'm at, so I'm gonna go to bed.